Good morning. Welcome inside to our daily Facebook Live for #ZooOpenOnline. We are sticking our necks out with the giraffes today. The weather has forced us inside, but we're still going to have a ton of fun learning all about these long-necked creatures. So get in here, join us, let us know you're here. You can see us, you can hear us, and we will spend some time talking giraffes today. All right, guys. Let's see who's here, who's tuning in today, and who's ready to learn all about giraffes. Hi, Hazel. Thanks for tuning in. Good morning, Tony. Hi, Ann. Hi, Theo, William, and Marcus. You guys get up early to join us out in California. That's so cool. Hi, Kimmy, Connie, and Link. Hi, Isabel, Colton, and Cassidy. Hey, Stella and Dominic, Drayden and Jordan. Hi, Remington. Thanks for tuning in. Good morning, Nathan, age 4. Hi, Paisley and Monclova. Good morning, Abby. Thanks for letting us know you can hear us and you can see us. Hi, Tessa and Pippa. Oh, Amanda is so excited. Yes. Good morning, Rebecca. Hi, Erica in North Webster, Indiana. Oh, there's a lot of cheering in Jill's house right now. That's awesome. Hi, Cal. Sam. Oh, she says, I love giraffes. Wonderful. Hi, Hunter. Hi, Tina in Windsor. Good morning, Kathy. Kendra's favorite. I love it when we make people's days. All right, guys, we're going to start with our morning announcements so we can get right into all of the giraffe fun. As always, on Thursdays, don't forget our meals on the go. Today is your last day to get in on some of that delicious and local Stanley's kielbasa and turkey and gravy. Get those orders in by 1 p.m. at ToledoZoo.org/mealsonthego. And then after those orders close, check out next week's menu so you can start planning ahead and getting your dinners ready. Don't forget, you can always add on cupcake kits, cookie kits, adult beverages, other desserts, and you can even purchase a meal for a frontline worker. We appreciate all of your help and support of that program, and we will keep continuing it because, hey, it's easy stuff. Place your order online and pick it up at Broadway. And don't forget, we are doing a bunch of virtual offerings. We've got virtual yoga coming up this Saturday if you haven't signed up yet. Namaste for Nature is what it's called. Go to ToledoZoo.org/virtual. And also we're doing trivia. It's called Troop Trivia, so get your troop together. Join us for family night. And we're also doing a date night edition for adults only, so check those out at ToledoZoo.org/virtual too. Don't forget about our Juke Mode t-shirts. We still are doing those Here for Good t-shirts. They're still going strong. Make sure you pre-order yours today. And all right, Charlotte says, get this camera on me. She wants to check it out. Charlotte, can you help us remind people that we always have our donate button, and you can always donate at ToledoZoo.org/donate to help keep us going. All right, guys, we are here today indoors because of the rain, which we just heard started pouring outside. We are here with Chrissy, one of our giraffe keepers, and she's going to tell us about our 3 female giraffes we have here at the zoo.
Yes, hi guys, I'm Chrissy, one of the giraffe keepers here at the Toledo Zoo, and I'm going to introduce you to our tower of giraffes. We have 3 females here. We have Charlotte Michelle right here front and center. She is our most personable giraffe. In the back, because the rain did start to come down a little bit, we have Thule and Ellie. And they're a little bit nervous because of the noise, but they should calm down in just a minute. Our 3 girls do vary in age. Charlotte Michelle is our oldest. She just turned 19 years old. Ellie is our next oldest. She's the one just walking in right now. Her birthday is on Halloween, and she will be 17 years old this year. And Thule, who's just walking away, is Ellie's daughter. Her birthday is in July, and she will be turning 9 this year.
Awesome. All right, we are getting a bunch of questions here, so I'm going to scroll back and start at the beginning. Just so you guys know, we are indoors up on a catwalk that our keepers use to help them train with the giraffes. And this is just one part of a really large giraffe barn. So they have a lot of room to roam, but we're hoping they're going to hang here with us because Chrissy's got the good treats.
Yes, I have the good stuff, all of their favorite. We have lettuce, we have rye crackers, some carrots, and apples.
All right, let's see. Maya asks, are the giraffes tall like her?
They are very tall. So in fact, giraffes can get up to about 20 feet tall. On average, females stay around 15 to 17 feet, and the males are the ones that get even taller. So they range from 17 to 20 feet tall.
Wow, all right. And Gavin wants to know how long their necks are.
That is a really great question. So their necks are probably about 6 feet tall, 5 to 6 feet. And their legs are also about 6 feet tall.
Wow, amazing. And Grayson and Elise would like to know, do the babies have horns like these guys?
They do. So those horns are actually called ossicones. And what they are is they're calcified cartilage. So when they're born, they're very soft so that it doesn't hurt on the way out. And then once they get older, it solidifies and it actually fuses to their skull. So they're going to have those forever.
Wow.
And both males and females have them.
That is very cool. And Dominic and Stella want to know, why do they need such long necks?
You know, that's a really great question. The reason why they have really long necks is so that they can get their food out in the wild. So these guys are browsers. They eat leaves off of very tall trees. So they need those long necks to be able to reach all of those leaves and vegetation that they would eat.
And Charlotte Michelle showing off her long tongue here. Heading right into Isabel's question is, how long is their tongue?
So their tongues on average are about 18 inches long, and they are prehensile. So you can see Charlotte Michelle kind of reaching, and she'll grab around whatever she wants and pull it back in. And they kind of act like fingers.
And I'm noticing it's almost black in color, and it's kind of rough, right?
It is. It's really rough. They have a really thick saliva. One of the more popular leaves that they eat in the wild are acacia from acacia trees. And those branches are covered in thorns. So in order to protect their tongues from the thorny branches, they have a very thick skin on their tongue, and they have very thick saliva to help protect. And they are dark color. We don't know for sure why they're dark, but one theory is that because they are constantly browsing throughout the day, that dark color is going to help keep their tongue protected from the sun. So kind of like built-in sunscreen.
That makes sense. And Maya asks, what are their favorite foods?
So Charlotte's favorite foods, she really loves these crackers. So these are just Wassa light rye crackers that you would find at the grocery store. They love these. They're one of their favorite snacks. Charlotte Michelle also loves apples. They love different types of browse. Our wonderful horticulture department has started giving us a lot of different varieties of browse for them, which are just basically just branches and different leaves. So they really love that. And they really love carrots as well.
All right. And Paisley wants to know, where do they sleep? Do they lay down?
They can lay down. So the really cool thing about giraffes, they only sleep for about 40 minutes a day. So they'll go in 3 to 5 minute nap spurts. They can lay down and they will kind of curl their head back on their butt as a pillow. And they can take a little 3-minute nap. But a lot of the time they will take a nap standing up.
That's awesome. Evie wants to know how much lettuce they can eat.
Oh, gosh. I don't know if I could give you an exact number for that because they do go through a lot. But giraffes can spend up to 75% of their entire day eating. So they go through quite a bit.
And lettuce would be a low calorie, not too filling.
Yes, because it is mostly water. It's low caloric for them. They can eat quite a bit of it before getting full.
Yes. And Tessa and Pippa want to know if giraffes can have twins like their twins.
It's very, very, very rare. So baby giraffes, when they are born, they are about 6 feet tall. So to have twins, there's not a whole lot of room in there. So it is really, really rare for giraffes to have twins.
And Levi asks if they have spots on their skin too.
You know, that's a really good question. I am not sure about if they're on their skin or not, but one of the really cool things about their spots is it actually helps them release heat. So underneath their spots, there's a really intricate system of blood vessels. And when they get too hot, those blood vessels underneath those dark spots will release the heat and help them cool down.
Charlotte Michelle just helping herself here.
Yes. She's our biggest snacker. You can't tell.
I think we can, yeah. That's funny. Amber would like to know, how fast can they run?
So these guys can actually run about 35 miles an hour.
Wow.
So they're not distance runners. They're going to be more sprinters.
But they're quick.
They are, yes, surprisingly quick.
And Sydney and Dax want to know, why don't giraffes make noise?
Oh, that's a really great question. This is actually one of my favorite facts about these guys. They do make noise. The frequency of the noise that they make is just too low for us to hear, and it's called infrasonic communication. So they will make noises that we can hear, such as they'll sneeze, or they exhale air, kind of sounds like a sigh. Some babies have been heard to make hums, something like a bleating, like a goat or a mooing noise. But most of their communication is infrasonic, which means that we just can't hear it.
And Bryant wants to know how big they are when they're born. You mentioned they're about 6 feet tall. But how much do they weigh?
How much do they weigh? About 100 pounds.
All right. And Alex asks, how can you tell a male and a female giraffe apart?
That is a really good question. It can be a little bit difficult, but males are usually much taller. And males' foreheads, if you look at a male's head, it's going to be a little bit more lumpier than a female because they will get more calcium deposits all around their forehead, and their ossicles are going to be bigger as they get older.
And Noah wants to know, how long do they live?
So these guys can live into their mid to late 20s. In the wild, it's going to be a little bit less, maybe early 20s. In captivity, it can be a little bit longer, just depending. But once they do get older, these guys are prone to some issues like arthritis because they just are so big. That's a lot of weight to have on their joints.
Absolutely. And you mentioned that Charlotte is our oldest.
Yes.
At 19?
19, correct.
And then who do I have over here?
That looks like Thule. Yep, that's Thule. So she is our youngest. She is turning 9 in July.
All right. And she is very interested in my boots.
Yes.
And then we also have Ellie.
Correct.
And you said she will be 17?
She'll be 17. Her birthday's on Halloween. And her full name is actually Elvira.
Elvira. Oh, that's awesome. I did not know that, and I totally love that fact.
Right?
All right, we're getting a few questions about why do they eat lettuce?
So these guys are ruminants. So they're similar to cows in that they have a 4-chambered stomach. So it's just the type of food that they're made to eat. So they like lettuce. They like all kinds of greens, leaves. They'll eat different bushes, different types of fruits in the wild. But they don't eat a whole lot of grass.
And here at the zoo, during our Tower Ridge giraffe feeding experience, we feed them romaine lettuce, right?
Correct.
All right. Let's see here. Brendan and Lucas would like to know, how do giraffes protect themselves from predators?
That is a really good question. Their first thing is going to be to run. So they are those quick sprinters. They can get away from quite a few things. They also kick. So their legs are very, very powerful. They can kill a lion with their kick. And then not so much for predators, but the way that they kind of fight each other and display their dominance, and it's how they form their hierarchies, is something called necking. So mostly the males do it, and it's basically they're going to swing their heads and just hit each other's underbodies and their sides.
Wow. Max wants to know if they have good eyesight.
They have fairly decent eyesight. There's not a whole lot known about giraffe and their eyesight. I think they might be able to see color, but that's still something that researchers are looking into.
And Susan asks, do dads help take care of the babies when they're born?
Dads are there. They do live in groups. So they aren't solitary. They're kind of around, but they don't really help take care of them. They'll just kind of watch after the whole group.
And you mentioned groups.
Yes.
What is a group of giraffe called?
A group of giraffe are called a tower.
And that's why we have Tower Ridge.
Yes.
There, see? All these things clicking together, guys. Simon wants to know if, as he calls them, Giraffes can bite.
You know, they can, but it doesn't hurt that much. So basically what's kind of cool about these guys, they only have teeth on the bottom. So their top is a hard palate. So if they do bite, it's just kind of them kind of sticking their teeth on a top palate. So it doesn't hurt too bad. They don't bite intentionally. It's not on purpose. It's just if you're feeding them and your fingers get stuck in there.
And a lot of people ask about Miss Charlotte Michelle's tongue and
Yes.
it hanging out the side. Talk to us about
Yes.
the teeth connection to that.
Yes, so Miss Charlotte Michelle, quite a few years ago, she had some issues with her jaw and she had an infection. So we actually had to go in and have some surgery done. So she's missing a whole side of her teeth and part of her jaw. So that's why her tongue just kind of flaps around. But she eats perfectly normally, as you can see. She is still our biggest snacker. Yeah, but she does great. It's just like I know a lot of dogs and cats might have that procedure as well, and their tongues just kind of flap out.
Yep.
But
and it's just like with humans, if you take, sometimes you got to take some teeth out.
Yep.
That happens.
But
it is a great way to be able to tell her apart from
Yes.
the others.
She's very easy to tell apart compared to Ellie and Thule.
Yes. And Cal would like to know how long a mother carries a baby giraffe before it's born.
Ooh, that's a good question. So their gestation period is about 18 months. So it's over a year.
How long does it take for the baby to start walking?
To start walking, they can start walking within an hour of being born.
Awesome. And Camden would like to know how much food they eat in a day.
How much food they eat in a day? Well, in addition to all of their snacks, these ladies get unlimited alfalfa hay. So that can be a few pounds for each giraffe. They get browse, like right here. And then each of these ladies gets 13 pounds of a specialized grain called wild herbivore. And that has all of their extra vitamins and nutrients in there that they would find in the wild. So it can depend on the day, but they at least get probably 20 pounds of food per giraffe.
All right. And Isabel asks, what are giraffes' predators?
That's a good question. Their main predators in the wild are going to be lions, leopards, hyenas, and wild dogs.
And Morgan wants to know, how do you tell the three girls apart? Obviously, Charlotte Michelle,
Yes.
tongue gives her away.
Yes.
But how about the other two?
That is a really great question. So like our fingertips and our fingerprints, no giraffe is going to have the same pattern. So if Ellie and Thule turn around here, if you look at Thule on her right shoulder, it's going to be, if you're looking straight on, it'll look like the left for us. She has one spot that kind of looks like a gorilla standing on all fours. This right here is Ellie. I think Ellie overall is the darkest. However, Thule has the darker face.
All right.
So you can pinpoint the different spots on them, find what's easiest for you. But if you look at them long enough, you can tell them apart just by looking at their face.
And do they have different personalities?
They do. So Ellie and Thule are going to be a little bit more reserved. Thule's a little curious. Ellie is the very skeptical one. She's always wary of new things. And Charlotte Michelle is our big love bug. She's very personable. She loves people. She's just a really sociable giraffe.
And she is quite often the front runner for the giraffe feeding area.
Yes, I think she eats the most lettuce out of all of them.
And Callum wants to know if they have hooves.
They do have hooves. So these guys are even-toed ungulates. So that means they have two toes. And their hooves, they're about the size of a dinner plate, their feet.
And Kayla wants to know if the giraffes like to be petted.
You know, it really depends on the individual. Charlotte Michelle doesn't mind it. If she gets a little bit dirty on her back, she does like to be scrubbed down every now and then. Thule and Ellie don't really like to be touched. So it really just depends on the individual giraffe.
And Gabby would like to know, how well can they hear?
How well can they hear? You know, I actually don't know. I think they can hear pretty well. Their ears are pretty big. But as far as distance-wise, I'm not sure how far they can hear.
Okay. That'd be a cool thing to Google, guys. I bet we could find that out. We're moving some brows around here.
Yes.
And Rebecca wants to know, how old are they when they're considered full grown?
When they're full grown, probably about 4 to 5. It does take a while. But from what I've seen, they're full grown once they're around 4 or 5.
And Roland wants to know if there are different kinds of giraffes. What kind do we have here?
Yes, these ladies are Maasai giraffes. These are the largest type of giraffe, and these guys are found in Eastern Africa, so around Kenya and Tanzania. Now, there's some debate around species and subspecies. According to the IUCN, there's one species with 9 subspecies of giraffe. However, the Giraffe Conservation Fund is doing some DNA research, and they are stating that there are 4 distinct species with 5 subspecies. So the debate is still ongoing, but there's about 9 different types.
And now we've got everybody in here wanting their fair share of snacks. So
yes,
tell us again who's who. We've got Charlotte Michelle down in the center here.
So right behind Charlotte Michelle, this is Ellie. And then right over here next to her is Thule. And if you notice, Thule's much daintier with her tongue than Charlotte Michelle. She takes it very gently.
Yes. And Easton, Everly, and Emerson would like to know if giraffes like to hang out with each other. Are they social animals?
Yeah, they are. They are a herd animal, so they do live in big groups or the towers, like I said before. So yeah, they do like to hang out with each other. And we've seen even on our exhibit, our savannah, they'll even hang out with some other animals as well. So like our kudu and the ostrich.
And Anna asks, how long is their tail?
How long is their tail? You know, that's a good question. I don't know. I've never measured their tail.
All right. Google might be able to help us out on that one too.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. And talk to us again about how long their tongue is.
Yes, their tongue is about 18 inches long. And again, it is prehensile, so kind of like fingers, they can grab those leaves from the trees.
And Tom wants to know, how tall was the tallest giraffe?
Ooh, that's a really great question. I don't know how tall the tallest one was. You would have to Google that one for sure. But I know the tallest one that I've worked with was about 19 feet.
And you said males are typically taller than females.
Correct.
And Tracy, these are Maasai giraffes.
Yes.
So their spot patterns look like what?
Yeah, so Maasai giraffes, you can tell them apart pretty easily from other types of giraffe because their spots are going to be more jagged. They kind of almost look like a jagged puzzle piece, jagged stars. If you take a look at reticulated giraffes, which are another common giraffe that you might find in a zoo, their spots are going to be really well-rounded, more square, and they're typically lighter in color. So if you think more of an orangey color, you're going to think of a reticulated giraffe.
And Lucy wants to know, what is the hair going down their back for?
So that is their mane. Very similar to a horse. Horses have manes. It doesn't really serve a purpose, I don't believe, but it makes them look really cool.
Awesome. And where can people see our giraffes on exhibit here at the zoo?
So on exhibit, we are on Expedition Africa, and we have the big savanna, and they share that exhibit with our Watusi and Collie cattle, our ostrich, and our greater kudu.
All right. And what's the best time of day or year to come see them?
So definitely when it's a little bit warmer. So these guys do like warmer temperature. It has to be at least 55 degrees for them to go outside. So typically late spring into the summer is a great time to see them. These guys are going to be a little bit more active and up front a little bit earlier in the day. So I'd say probably between 10 and 1 o'clock.
All
They'll
right.
be up and about, but after that, they're usually ready to come back inside for dinner.
And Kimmy asks, how often are their hooves trimmed?
Oh, that's a really good question. So we are actually working on hoof trims with them. Hoof care is really, really important for giraffes in zoo settings. And we haven't gotten there quite yet, but we are working on getting them desensitized to us touching their hooves. I think we've had a few successful trimmings on Thule, I believe it is. But yeah, it's a work in process, and I think we're gonna get really far with it.
Great. And the flooring in here helps to naturally keep them
Yes.
trimmed a bit.
It does, yes. So the flooring in here, and then definitely walking around on exhibit. But in the wild, because giraffes have to go far distances to find food, they're going to be doing a lot more walking. Whereas these guys, they have everything that they need right here. They're very spoiled. So they just don't walk as much as, say, a wild giraffe would. So that's why we need to take care of their hooves.
And Logan wants to know if they miss people coming to the zoo since we're closed.
You know, it is really hard to tell with animals. But I think Charlotte Michelle really misses the lettuce snacks.
As evidence in our live feed here, yes, for sure. All right. Benny, age 7, wants to know, do they have knees?
Do they have knees? They do. So if you see Thule walk in here, you can see her bending her knees when she walks.
And how far are their knees from the ground?
How far are their knees? So their legs total up to their shoulders is about 6-7 feet. So I'd probably say 3 to 4 feet.
All right. And you mentioned earlier, but let's talk about it again. How long do they sleep in a day?
They sleep for 40 minutes total, the whole day. Wow. Yes, so they go in spurts about 3 to 5 minutes for naps. They can lay down and they'll use their rump as a little pillow. But that's a really vulnerable position for them to be in the wild because you never know when a predator is going to come by. So their naps are very, very short. So they do a lot of their sleeping standing up. And these guys, because they are in a zoo setting, they don't have any predators. So we do notice giraffes in zoos will sleep a little bit more and they'll lay down a little bit more often.
All right. And you mentioned that their legs up to their shoulders, it's about 6 feet. And then their necks are about another 6 feet long, right?
Correct.
But they have, is it true they have the same number of vertebrae in their neck that we do?
Yes. So that's a really cool fact. We have 7 vertebrae, and so do the giraffes. They're just much larger than ours.
Yes, for sure. Taylor, age 5, wants to know if they like being inside or outside better.
You know, it's a mix of both. I think they do really like being outside. They get to walk around, they get to interact with their other animal friends, they get to interact with guests as they get fed the nice, delicious lettuce. But they do actually really like being inside as well. You'll notice sometimes in the afternoon when we're getting ready to bring things in, they are up at the gate waiting. So they know when it's time to come inside for dinner, and they are excited for dinner.
They like their routine.
They do.
And Anna asks us, and I can tell you the answer is yes, Anna. They do have eyelashes. They have really great looking eyelashes.
They're long, beautiful eyelashes.
All right.
And that's just going to help keep all of that dust that you would find on the African savanna out of their eyes.
And Jenny wants to know, how do you get them to go where you want them to?
So that's a really good question. That's actually part of our training. So it's called shift training. So trying to get them to shift from one area to the other. It definitely helps. Outside is a reward for them. We put up a bunch of hay and browse for them to go outside that they want. Definitely when the deck is open and when there are people up there feeding, Charlotte Michelle goes straight to that deck. That's a big reward for her. Another thing that we might use is a target. So this is one of our target poles. So they know to touch this with their nose and then they get a treat. So let's see if Charlotte will do it. Charlotte, target. Good girl. So then we can have them follow this target out to wherever they want them to go. And then once we make that into a routine, they're going to do it more often. And then they just know after time. They have their time schedule kind of set. So things get a little bit weird when the time changes, when we go through daylight savings time, because the routine's a little thrown off by that hour.
Sure. And Bryn, age 12, would like to know, Chrissy, what's your favorite part of your job?
My favorite part of my job? It's a good question. There's a lot of really cool parts, but my favorite is definitely getting to know the animals, forming relationships with them, and being able to do things like feed Charlotte Michelle for an hour. It's great.
And Levi asks if they can see well in the dark.
You know, I don't know that one. That's another one to Google. I would probably say No, but I'm not sure.
And Charlotte, age 5, who thinks it's really cool that she shares a name with one of our giraffes,
absolutely,
wants to know if they smile.
They smile. Sometimes it can look like it. If you spend enough time with them, you can see different facial reactions from them. They can't smile in the sense that humans can smile, but I think you can tell when they're happy and when they're not.
And Emily asks, do they get normal vet appointments?
They do. So we do have 3 full-time vets here at Toledo Zoo. They are always doing their rounds, checking up on all of our animals. These guys do get different vaccines. They get different medications if they need it. So right now, actually, Charlotte, Michelle, and Ellie are both on joint supplements just because they are getting a little bit older in age, just to support their joints as they get older. Well, that was rude. But yeah, our vets are great, and they're constantly checking up on everybody and making sure everyone's healthy.
All right. And Ellie, age 4, wants to know, how do they play?
How do they play? That's a really good question. So when they're older, we don't really notice it too much. But when they're babies, you can see them running around. They kind of hop around. If it's in a zoo setting, I've seen lots of babies try to play with other animals that they might share their exhibit with. So it's mostly running and hopping.
Very cool. All right. And Savannah would like to know, what major did you have in college to get this job as a giraffe keeper?
That's a really good question. So my major was actually in psychology. I went more the animal behavior route. But zookeeping in general, it's really good to get a science-based degree, and then lots of volunteering, lots of internships. I did a lot of volunteering before I got my first paid job, and I've been at a few different facilities, and I've been very, very lucky in my career, but science-based degrees are definitely a good start.
All right. And we have to ask, do you have a favorite of these 3 giraffes?
I do, and it's probably not going to be a surprise. It is Charlotte Michelle.
We have heard that answer before when talking to our giraffe keepers. So
she gets a little gross with her tongue. She's a lot more slobbery than the others. But I love her.
Yes. All right. Well, we thank all of you guys for tuning in and joining us today. And those of you who donated, thank you so very much. You guys are really helping us keep the zoo going, and we are glad that we can stay connected with you guys, and you can stay connected with our animals, even when we can't all be together here at the zoo. So thank you, Chrissy, for telling us all about these.
Yes.
Thank you, Charlotte, for enjoying your snack time with us, and Tuli and Ellie for coming over and showing off for us. All right, guys, we will be back with another live feed tomorrow at 10:30. But for now, we're headed out.